starts was a big deal the last couple times out.
You know, you'll probably have, what, 6, 7 more starts. Would 20 still be in the back of your mind now, Bill? It'd be very difficult, but would you think about it?
Well, I've always said, you know, that 20 wasn't my goal. My goal was to, you know, once I get to 14, my goal was 15, and that's my next goal, is to get 15. And if for some reason you get to 20, that's great. But I just try to take one inning, one pitch at a time.
You know, ball players have to go about doing their jobs. They can't worry about what's in the stands and how many people are supporting them. But when you have a crowd like yesterday of over 41,000, a festive atmosphere, does it sort of rub off for you guys on the field?
Yeah, I would think so. You know, being in this, you know, it would look more like we're in a pennant race, really, and going for first place instead of, you know, however many games we're back in fourth place. And when these people come out here now, it looks more like they're enjoying coming out here. Everybody pretty much has a smile on their face, and there's a bunch of families here at the games and things like that. So I think the whole atmosphere has really changed as far as just having people coming out just to see a baseball game, people coming out to have some good entertainment.
Yeah, it's got to make quite a difference. Well, listen, a good job yesterday, and we'll look forward to talking to you again soon.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it. Bill Gullickson, who winning pitcher in yesterday's 12-1 rout. All right, next up, the roundtable. We'll get their thoughts on the Bill LaJoie news when we come back.
I don't have anything to say here except run this team in the dugout. Jerry Walker, in my 23 years, I have never worked with a human being that seemed to understand every phase of what was going on and understand how to relate to you. Even if he wasn't allowing you to have something, you felt like when you went away, well, you don't have it, but this man explained it to me. And I think this, to me, and I said it in Minnesota, the best two young general manager I have ever seen is Bob Gebhardt at Denver. I think he's just going to be unbelievable. And Jerry Walker right here in Detroit. I said in 5 years, I believe they will control the industry.
Because don't you feel that a manager and a general manager, or manager and president, whatever the front office structure is, that there has to be some sort of harmony so that it translates into proper moves on the field?
I think there has to be a tremendous amount of friendship. And when I say friendship, I don't mean that socially. Right. I don't mean social friendship. I mean trusting friendship. That when you speak to a man, for instance, when I speak to Jerry, I know I'm getting an honest answer. I speak to him, I know he's going to give me back, maybe not what I want to hear, but it's going to be truth. And that's the thing I think that's so important. And those relationships build into tremendous things. Now, forget that me. Jerry Walker could work with any manager in the game of baseball today. He has that tremendous talent to be able to relate. I've only known Jerry a year, really. I knew Jerry Walker and who he was, and I've run into him, and he worked for the club. But I know Jerry Walker now. And Jerry Walker, to me, without being corny, Fred, I have never worked for a human being like this. And I mean work for. He's not working for me. I'm
right.
working for him.
Pretty good testimony. All right, let's talk about the crowd situation. I know there's not an electricity meter in the dugout to measure it, but did you feel it yesterday with, you know, over 40,000 people?
Absolutely. And, you know, the night before, Dick Trzaski said, you know, we'll have 40,000 on Friday night. But the weather all day from the morning, and I said, gosh, I told my wife, I said, this is a terrible break for Mr. Ilitch, because if this weather was nice, he'd have 40,000 like Trixie said. And then yesterday when I looked up there and I seen the thing 41,000 something, I knew we were in the 40 range. I didn't know if we were 38 or what, but I knew. And then see 41, 6 something, see, I can even remember that. It gives you a good feeling. And I said this, I don't think there's any question about this. If the people will not expect a human being to make miracles happen overnight, if they will be patient and go along with this man, I believe in 2 years from now that they will see that this thing is back to where it used to be when I came here, where there's 2-3, 2-4, 2-5, 2-7 1 year. I really believe that.
Hey, do you have any pull to have your dugout seat called for a free hot dog?
No, you know, I told Billy Consolo, I said, you know what, you ever thought of what a good idea is that? I'd like to go to that ballpark. I'd wait every night to have it come down my road. I love hot dogs.
That's one of your, always your favorite.
I shouldn't publicize it, but I do. I happen to love hot dogs.
Hey, you can't go to a ball game without having a hot dog.
Absolutely.
Hey, David Cone yesterday gets racked by Milwaukee. You know, those things happen, I guess, when you change leagues, but what kind of an impact is he going to have on the pennant race?
Well, I think that what Milwaukee did establish one thing. Not to score so much as they stole 8 bases off of him,
right.
Fred. And that's a thing that's going to awaken everybody. It looks evidently you can really run on him. And I think people are going to really exploit the fact that you can run on him. And that's going to be a tough thing. If you can run like that on him, he better pitch awful good.
So that final weekend, if you face Cone, you're going to send Cecil from first?
Yeah, Cess is our key guy. I always say that when we run Cess, we get that fastball for Mickey.
Yeah, right. A secret ploy. All right, Sparky, thanks for the time. Appreciate
Thank you, Freddie.
All right, coming up, it'll be the roundtable's turn to discuss the matters at hand when we come back. Welcome back, Roundtable time, and joining us to discuss the events of the day, the week, the season, are 3 gentlemen who certainly know the Tigers inside out and backwards. Hank Aguirre, former Tiger lefty, is with us. Welcome, Hank. Haven't had a chance to have you in the show. Good to see you. Also, Pat Caputo of the Oakland Press, who, of course, is the Tiger beat writer for that fine paper. And Jim Price, ex-Tiger catcher. Why weren't you in the old-timers game?
I'm not that old. I can still play.
Still spry enough, right? All right, what about the news of the day? LaJoie turns it down. Are you surprised?
I am, to a certain extent. You know, I've talked to Bill a lot about it, and I thought that he'd shown a lot of interest. He had shown a tremendous amount of interest in mending some fences that were knocked down when he left, particularly with Sparky. But you know, there's also a situation that Bill LaJoie's life has changed a lot. I think he enjoys the fact that he's out on the road scouting. I think that when his wife passed away, he's remarried, he has a new family, which he inherited. And I think that when he sits down and looks at it, the same thing happened in Miami. When it came down to crunch time there, and it was between him and another guy, Dave Dombrowski. He looked at Dave Dombrowski, was 35 years old, and said, well, I think that this will probably be a better guy for the job anyways. But, you know, I haven't talked to Bill yet, so I really can't speak for him on that. But I do know that he was interested in it, but might have thought about it. Because there's some controversy about him coming back. You know, Sparky was a little cold, and, you know, I'm sure he may have said that had nothing to do with it, but I think it did have something to do with it, you know.
Well, we can only speculate because, you know, Mike has mentioned that when he reorganizes the franchise in the front office, it's not going to be your typical front office. Yeah. Now, maybe Bill wasn't going to have the powers that he thought he should have, and I agree with what Pat's saying. You know, I'm like Henry, I'm kind of semi-retired. You value your time, you know, a little bit more when you change your lifestyle, but I think Mike is going to be involved deeply, and I said this months and months ago, that he's going to really be involved in a day-to-day, and that could have changed his thinking a little bit. You know, in terms of LaJoie, too, knowing him as we do, I don't know that he could go into it without 110%, where he's so intense that at his age, maybe, you know, things are a little bit more important.
Well, first of all, I got to say this, one thing. When he was here, when he left, you know, he left at a time, you know, under circumstances where he had to get out. I mean, he did not get along with Jim Campbell at all. There was a lot of resentment there on his part, and that transpired into Sparky near the end, and he had to get out. He's been away for 2 years. Maybe he doesn't want to go through it again. And I think Jim brought up a good point. Maybe he doesn't have the power that...
Well, I don't want to throw cold water in this discussion because I know Pat likes controversial stuff, and you guys probably do in the media. You think this is a big, important event that LaJoie didn't sign today. I don't. I think that the long-term establishment of this franchise is more important. And I think that'll give Mike some time to really look around town and around this country who's available to run this franchise. And I sort of feel good about it. He'd have made a fast decision here, and I don't know how Mike operates, but I sure wouldn't make quick decisions. I'd take long-term. There's a lot of good guys out there available. You know, is Whitey Herzog available? Is Dick Williams available? You know, there's guys out there that I would want to interview before I made that decision.
Well, I agree. That's a very good point there. And the thing about Bill LaJoie was the fact that A, he's somebody the fans related to and knew that he was very good at what he does. Two, and Mike Ilitch, obviously from that press conference, I don't know him, but from that press conference, knows baseball and understands its people. Bill LaJoie is as good a baseball man overall as you're going to find in terms of judging talents, doing contracts, and relating to the players in there. He kept a lot of players on the right track when he was there. Now, you know, that's why probably he wanted to talk to him right away. I don't think it's the end of the world either.
Yeah, right.
You know.
What about Jerry Walker?
You know, I don't know Jerry, but Dick Trzaskowski, who my old roommate, just raves about him, and now I saw George Kell and Al Kaline raving about him also. Yeah. But Trixie tells me, and I think Dick Trzaskowski is one of the best baseball men I've ever met, tells me that he's a hard worker, and that's really the name of the game. And to work with Mike Ilitch, you're going to have to be a hard worker, and he knows the game.
I think there's really room in Major League Baseball for two individuals. One is in the finance side, right, you know, with contracts and right, et cetera. The other one is a talent guy, which could be a Walker or LaJoie. And I don't think that I would, you know, consider those two guys the finance arm of the arm. We've seen a lot of contracts expire or not renewed because they missed the deadline on some stupid technicality, legal technicality. You got to be real careful in today's game.
Yeah, well, but you know what? How the Pistons ran their organization. Tom Wilson ran the business. Jack McCloskey brought them 2 world championships because right, he ran the players.
Right.
Well, I think Jerry Walker obviously, you know, hasn't had a chance to show what he can do. And the thing about Jerry, he's a very cool customer. None of this has fazed him.
No, he
at
really
all.
is.
A good job.
And he gets along with people. Now, I don't know how good he is going to be at making trades. I don't know how good he is going to be at negotiating contracts. He hasn't proven that yet. He's inexperienced, but I think he deserves a chance.
But I think Mike Ilitch is going to be involved in all of that.
Oh, I agree.
He's involved with all
in personnel too?
Absolutely. Yeah. Michael didn't spend $80 to $85 million to watch somebody else make those deals.
I agree with you. He's going to be a very active owner.
Absolutely.
And he's going to make major decisions. But I also think that he's going to be very strong in what we call product presentation. I don't think the athletes and the general managers and all that's just part of the picture. I think bringing the fans back to Tiger Stadium is even more important. And what he's doing already is creating excitement. How you present that product to the fan is very, very important.
Let me make one more quick comment. What we all know at the press conference, Mike said everything we all wanted to hear the right way. But you know, and I know you picked it out, he said one thing about some people are excited about our young pitchers. Some of them pitched one good time. He says, I'm not excited. We need pitching. They have to go around the loop. Right away, anybody that played pro ball knows right away, this man knows his business. And the only way you know that is if you're a writer or a sportscaster or a player that knows you have to go around the league a few times. He can't jump up and down now because someone made one good appearance like some of our fans do. And I'm not belittling our fans, but right away you want to say, man, that pitching looks pretty good. If you took that out of the press conference, I think that was real important.
Yeah. All right, we'll be back with some more thoughts on the matter when we come back.
I'm going to do what's necessary to win. And I think you all know that pitching's the name of the game. We brought up some young players, and they're doing quite well. But you've been following the sport a long time, and some of you have played the game. That you got to give people time to make sure they can produce. And we're not sure about where we're at on pitching right now.
Spoken like a guy who knows what he's talking about. You know, Mike, having played minor league baseball, I don't know of any other owner in the current structure in Major League Baseball that has that kind of experience. Granted, he's not going to run the day-to-day in terms of a general manager, make trades, but how significant is it where you have a guy with a baseball background signing the checks?
I think it's night and day. I think it's fabulous. I really, at long last, right, Henry?
Yeah, again, listen to what you just said about pitching. You know, we've talked about ex-major league players here in this town about the pitching the Detroit Tigers. If Sparky Anderson does have a weakness in his managing capabilities, it's his pitching. He was the same in Cincinnati. He ran those guys. This guy Bourbon, I saw him pitch today.
He could hardly make it out there.
Oh yeah, he'll run you out there considerably. But you know, as good as he is in other areas, maybe his weakest point was pitching. They need to establish a strong pitching staff in this town, especially because it's a small ballpark.
All right, so free agent market. Cone obviously could be back in there.
Well,
you got Swindell. You've got...
We've talked about this before on the show.
Well, it's okay. Other people are tuning in.
Well, you know, it's risky business. Yeah. And the way he's going to get pitchers...
But what if you get one?
Look at every good pitching staff you got. Who's the best pitching staff in baseball now? It's Atlanta Braves. Where did they get their players?
Oh, there's no question.
They're all developed by them except for one player, Schmaltz, and he came from here. And he may not have developed in the Tigers farm system at that time.
I agree with you 100. The easiest thing to produce is pitching.
But
and all you got to do is sign pitchers that can throw the ball hard, and you can develop pitchers that throw hard.
You're right.
Coaching. Let me tell you what Baltimore did. All they do is they lead the league in defense, and they added 2 pitchers, Sutcliffe and Messina, and they're fighting for the pennant. The Tigers are that close.
Yeah, they are not that far. That's my
well, but they're not that close either. They're close to being competitive.
In this division,
This division is not the
well, that's
strongest
because Toronto has a tendency to...
Oh, that's no.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what the danger is here, okay? Here's the danger in that division right now. Boston and New York have the great TV contracts, right? Milwaukee, Cleveland, Baltimore, new stadiums. Toronto, new stadium. Leaves the Tigers at a competitive disadvantage financially. Okay? Toronto is going to have a payroll of over $50 million next year. Mike Ilitch cannot afford to do that. I mean, that's the problem, right?
Well, he can afford it.
He better start developing pitchers.
Whether he wants to do it.
Well, that's, you know what I'm saying. I mean, to be fiscally responsible, and he sounded like he's smart enough he's going to...
Yeah, but he's fiscally responsible, but look what he did with the Red Wings.
Greg Maddux is not going to bring him a pennant.
Oh, I agree with that. Maddux is the other primo.
Greg Swindell either. Not at $5 million that they're going to cost him either. Yeah. I mean, Greg Maddux turned down a 5-year contract for $28 million.
Well, would you make a trade then?
Yes, trades is a possibility.
But that's hard to do because teams are not going to give up pitching.
Well, you know, you got to develop them.
Yeah, we have excess hitting. I think there's some people we could trade. I really do. We have excess hitting. And,
long ball hitting.
Long ball hitting. Yes.
But you're right.
I'm sorry, Henry. Because you were a good hitter. You would know that.
Absolutely.
When you played, for example, Hank, you know, when did you get traded? It was after maybe you had a bad year, right? And then you'd come back and have
after you had a good year, then a bad year following, and then you're gone.
Then somebody else thinks you can come back. And then if you come back to that team, that's the type of trades you have to make. For example, Doyle Alexander was not doing well with Atlanta when he came to the Tigers. He came to the Tigers, change of scenery. Jack Morris was pitching poorly for the Tigers by his standards, went to Minnesota, changed the scenery, got a new attitude, fits well. Those are the type of moves that are going to do it. And you got to have somebody who's pretty darn astute to be able to handle those moves.
And we all agree there are going to be some moves, though.
Yes, they have to be.
You're not going to have the same team.
No, he's not going to be as static. I don't feel that way. Like I said, I don't know. You probably know him better than I do.
I've known Mike for a long time.
I don't know him.
So has Henry.
You know,
I would think so.
What I also found interesting from the press conference was saying that he's going to give the current Tiger Stadium a chance. I mean, how realistic is it?
I like that, and if Mike's listening, nobody ever thought about what they do if they refurbish Tiger Stadium. We can't play in it. So the great idea is, I think, is to go to the Silver Dome and play there for a year like we did in the Coliseum in L.A. Throw up a high screen.
225 foot.
Right. You're going to have a lot of home runs, but you're going to refurbish Tiger Stadium in a better mode that you would if you're playing in it. I'm sure you don't want to take 20,000 seats out of Tiger Stadium and still play in it. You know,
but you talk about fiscal responsibility, Henry. You have to think about parking. You have to think about the private suite. You have to think about the restaurants. Sure, you could probably make some private suites at Tiger Stadium, and I love Tiger Stadium, but if you talk about, as you were saying, fiscal responsibility, how do you get those profit centers? You can't get parking.
Well, I think the language here was short-term. We're talking about playing Tiger Stadium short-term, not long-term.
Yeah, but how much money do you want to put in it short-term?
Well, that belongs to the city.
Well,
the city does that.
You know, they're already paying $1.50 on every ticket, a surcharge from the last renovation, which didn't last very long. And I don't think that the general fans, most of the people, are so disgusted with the thought of a new stadium. I think they want to go to a nice modern stadium that's like Camden Yards.
Right.
Because I think Tiger Stadium is difficult to get in and out of. It's small, the restrooms get crowded, the concessions. It's inconvenient.
But if the voters, you know, eventually shoot down a new stadium, will Mike do it on his own?
I think Mike will help do it on his own. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And I think the people of Wayne County are definitely going to work with him. They've already stated that. McNamara and everybody are
He's got the respect of the politicians.
He's there. That's right. Sure. And the maiden one.
Yeah.
Mayor. Coleman Young.
Be interesting, because can you imagine if you could, you know, kind of rework an old Tiger Stadium into a new one? Would be something.
Boy, it'd be great.
Listen, thanks for the time. Appreciate it. As always.
Freddie, good seeing you again.
See you later, Pat.
Yeah, thanks, Freddie.
All right, stay tuned. George and Al bring you Tigers and Royals, Game 3 of the series, coming up next. Yesterday, the Tigers launched an aerial attack, bombing 4 home runs, including a Lou Whitaker grand slam. Bill Gullickson picked up his 14th win in a 12-1 romp against the shell-shocked Royals. This afternoon, Eric King goes for his 3rd straight strong outing. While baseball's big bats are hungry for more homers. Next, from Michigan and Trumbull, it's the Tigers and Royals. Tigers Baseball, brought to you by your neighborhood 7-Eleven stores. Proud sponsors of Tigers Baseball. And by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Tiger Stadium. I'm George Kell, along with Al Kaline. We're just about ready to go with the 3rd and final game of this series. The Tigers going for a sweep today, and they'll be sending Eric King, the big right-hander, to the mound, and he pitched well his last time.
Well, his last 2 outings have been the best I've ever seen Eric. He had a good year when he was with the Tigers earlier, but his last 2 outings have been just outstanding. He beat Kansas City on, I believe it was August the 18th. You can see he's 4-2 lifetime against Kansas City. Throwing the ball hard. What I like about him the most, he's only walked 1 man in the 2 games that he started.
And pitching for the Kansas City club today will be Kevin Appier. Now, this fella is one of the top pitchers in the league. His manager, McRae, says he's the best pitcher in the league, but he is one of the top pitchers.
No question about it. It's going to be a little bit more difficult for the Tigers today. The last couple of days, even though the first game was a well-pitched ball game, yesterday was a blowout for the Tigers. Going to be a little bit more difficult today for the Tiger batters. This guy is a premier pitcher, good fastball, slider, changeup, throws the ball hard. He is their best pitcher by far. It's going to be a little bit more tough.
You know, Al, I was talking to Jerry Walker before the game today, and he gave me a very interesting stat. I said, Eric King is pitching real well. You should have seen him in Minnesota. He said, I saw it on television. But he said when he came off the disabled list last year, he pitched a 2-hitter the first time out. He won 4 games in September. Now, 2 great games coming off the disabled list. He said, how do you figure?
Well, you don't figure. See, he's had all kind of little nagging injuries. He's had a bad back. He's had a history of a bad back. Some shoulder problems, and maybe the wear and tear of pitching in a rotation, the back bothers him. But the first 2 outings, you cannot find anyone who has pitched any better than Eric King his last 2 outings. So hopefully, and he has had success against Kansas City in the past, hopefully he'll give the Tiger bats a chance to score some runs off of a very tough pitcher.
Well, another good crowd on hand today. The Ilitch era started here on Friday night. The Tigers had 24,000 plus on a bad evening, a rainy, cold evening. They had 41,000 yesterday. Another good crowd today on just a delightful day here in downtown Detroit. And the Tigers playing extremely well. Tigers playing well. They beat Minnesota 2 out of 3 in the Metrodome in Minnesota. Coming home to play Kansas City, won the first 2. Go for a sweep today, Al.
And they're excited about it. You know, they're coming back. There's people in the stands. There's life. The people are having fun. They're really into the ball game, and that reflects onto your team too. You carry that over into the field, and it should be a good ball game today. Hopefully, the Tigers can sweep.
Well, the Tigers are only 10 games out of first place, and who would have thought that just a month ago, the way they were playing. We're going to be right back at Tiger Stadium with the Royals and the Tigers after these messages.
Okay, we're going to get right into the starting lineup for the Kansas City Royals. They have a record of 57 wins, 71 losses. Leading off at third base, Greg Jeffries. Batting second, Keith Miller is at second base. The third batter in the DH, George Brett. Batting fourth, Wally Joyner at first base. Batting fifth in right field, Juan Samuel. The sixth batter is the catcher, Brent Main. Batting seventh in center field, Kevin Kozlowski. The eighth batter in left field, Gary Thurman. And batting ninth, playing shortstop, Curtis Wilkerson. Defensively for the Tigers, Tony Phillips is in left field today. Gary Pettis, Rob Deere. Around the infield, Livingstone, Fryman, Whitaker, fielder Chad Kruger is the catcher today, and Eric King will be on the mound for the Tigers. And for the last 2 outings, as you look at his record, 4 wins and 4 losses, have been just a dandy, beating the Royals in Kansas City on August 18th, 5-1. And then his last outing against the Minnesota Twins on Monday, He defeated them 6-2. Eric, of course, on the disabled list quite a few times. He went back to Double-A in London and pitched 3 ball games there. And he went to Toledo and pitched 1 ball game for the Toledo Mud Hens, but pitching extremely well. He's had some nagging injuries over his last few years, particularly with his back and with his shoulder. But if he can pitch any place close to his last 2 outings, the Tigers have a good chance to sweep this series. And you can see Tigers have been getting great pitching in the last 6 games, an earned run average of under 2. Outstanding pitching by the staff on the Tigers.
Yeah, when we left spring training this year, Sparky says, hey, we're going to see a lot of 10, 8, 12, 9 ball games. And his pitching did look like at that time it was not going to be very good. But the kids have come on. Tanana's pitched extremely well. Gullickson's pitched well. And the pitching has been a big surprise of this ball club. Well, this is the way the breeze is blowing today. It's blowing toward right field, from the left field corner to the right field corner. And anything hit toward right field is going to carry extremely well today. Jeffries will lead it off, Greg Jeffries, and he fouls it away.
Jeffries, who got off to a terrible start this year. A big trade made with the New York Mets. But he has come on strong, and you can see his batting average has moved up over the 300 mark. Always been a good offensive player. Question has been, where do you play him defensively?
Here's the 1 strike pitch. That'll make it 1-1. Temperature at game time, 75 degrees. Strong wind blowing toward right field. 1 ball, 1 strike to the leadoff man. And he pops it up into shallow left field. Whoa! Tony Phillips. A little mix up for a moment out there. The wind is carrying it, and I would imagine Fryman was thinking it's going to blow it away from him.
Well, Tony calls for the ball. Fryman continues right in his pass. He could not stop quick enough. That's a frightening feeling for a outfielder who can see in the corner of his eye the infielder, but fortunately no one was hurt and there was no collision.
And the batter is Keith Miller. This fellow who was playing so well early in the year when we were in Kansas City, then he went on the disabled list. And Keith Miller goes back to the old style baseball. Eno Slaughter type. He runs on every move.
Yep, runs hard to first base, even when he gets the base on balls. He's from Frankenmuth, Michigan. Very versatile player. He's played 6 positions.
1 big hop to third base. And Keith Miller is out. Well, the first 2 Royals have been retired in the first inning, and the batter will be George Brett. On his way to 3,000 hits.
2,967 career hits. Stands 19th all time. Needs 33 more hits in 34 games. And
Eric King, excuse me, Al.
And I can say this guy can put a lot of hits together at any time.
Yeah.
He can go 4 for 4 very easily any time.
1 ball, no strikes. And a bouncer to first base. Cecil's going to take it by himself, and the inning is over. We go to the bottom of the first. There is no score.
Okay, here's the batting lineup for the Detroit Tigers, brought to you by Kroger. Leading off in left field today, Tony Phillips. Batting second, Lou Whitaker, second base. Third batter, shortstop, Travis Fryman. Batting fourth, Cecil Fielder, first base. The 5th batter and the DH today, Mickey Tettleton. Batting 6th, Rob Deere, right field. The 7th batter is Scott Livingstone, playing third base. Batting 8th, Chad Kruder is the catcher. Batting 9th in center field, Gary Pettis. Defensively, For Kansas City in the outfield, Thurman, Kozlowski, and Samuel in the outfield. Around the infield, Jeffries, Wilkerson, Miller, Joyner, Maine behind the plate, and Kevin Appier is on the mound for Kansas City. By far Kansas City's best pitcher, 14 wins, and look at his earned run average under 3. That is outstanding. He's pitched very well against the Tigers. He's 1-0 this year, and he's 4-1 lifetime. Good fastball, changeup, slider, and a split finger fastball. He has it all, and he throws strikes.
Tony Phillips will lead it off. Tony Phillips playing in left field today. Lou Whitaker will follow, and then Travis Fryman. A big day here yesterday as the Tigers scored 12 times on 4 home runs, including a grand slam home run by Lou Whitaker. How about the Milwaukee club scoring 22 times in Toronto Friday night?
And then beating David Cone, who everyone thought would come over here right away and run off about 6 or 7 straight.
He'll probably win, but I'm going to tell you the Toronto Ball Club's in trouble right now. They've got to get it together. You can't depend on the teams below you to keep losing, and they're just not winning. Not on the road and not at home. With an outstanding lineup. Here's the 2-strike pitch to Tony. Makes it 1-2. But there's no doubt the addition of David Cone is going to make a big difference. He's a winner, has been for a long time.
Surprises me that Baltimore did not claim him. If they had claimed him, that means they'd have to take him off the list for 30 days.
Here's a bouncer towards second. Keith Miller flips it on to first base. So Tony Phillips is out. Yeah, that is surprising. I saw an answer to that somewhere from the Baltimore club, and I think what they said, there's so many guys on there, and you just can't claim everybody, and they didn't think, they thought he would be pulled back or something.
Well, you know, you can put everybody on the list at any time during the season, and you might be able to sneak them through.
Yeah.
And once you get waivers on them, that means it goes through for the whole time.
Here's Lou Whitaker, who had a grand slam home run yesterday. And he takes a pitch low. That's Chuck Merriweather behind the plate. Ed Hickok is at first base. Ted Hendry, the umpire, at second. And Tim Tashida is on at third base. This ball may blow back, and it will. Let's see if Jeffries can get there. Nope, he cannot get there. Toronto has a 5-1 lead over Milwaukee today in the top of the 5th inning. That's Guzman coming off the disabled list. He's got to pitch well for that club. It's 1 strike to Whitaker. Kevin Appier delivers inside, ball 2. Minnesota 1, New York 0. They're in the bottom of the 4th inning in Minnesota. And the Minnesota Ball Club's going to have to put it together pretty soon. Ball 3, strike 1.
You look at Kevin Appier, you think back a few years ago, Goose Gossage. He looks exactly like him, the way he throws, the way he falls off the mound, throws hard.
And he walked him. Lou Whitaker gets a 1-out walk. We'll bring up Travis Fryman. 18 home runs and 80 runs batted in for Fryman. Fellow batting at .278. Breaking ball is outside.
as a hitter, you have to completely ignore the windup of Kevin Appier. He gives you a lot of motion, but the ball doesn't get up there quite as hard as he looks like it's coming. So you have to ignore his windup and his delivery. Just look for the ball and pay no attention to his delivery.
He swung at it, says Chuck Merriweather, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, some of the best trades that you make are those you do not make. And when they made the trade with the New York Mets, Kansas City wanted to send Appier instead of Saberhagen, but the Mets said no deal without Saberhagen. Well, Saberhagen's been hurt most of the year, and this fellow's having an outstanding season.
It actually has turned out to be a pretty good trade for Kansas City. Miller and Jeffries both playing well. McReynolds having a very disappointing year. And Saberhagen has not pitched well for the Mets.
1 ball, 1 strike. And this one's fouled away. That'll make it 1-2 to Fryman. One thing we forgot to mention about David Cone, he's a free agent at the end of the year.
And the Mets thought there was no way they could afford to sign him. Now, if the Mets could not afford to sign somebody,
he's not signable.
He's not signable.
Ground ball, good play at third by Jeffries, and that's all they're going to get. Outstanding play with the young third baseman.
Standing play, who is not noted for his defensive ability, makes a great play here just in time to get Whitaker at second base.
The batter is Cecil Fielder, who had a home run in yesterday's ball game. His 29th home run of the year. That came in the first inning with a runner at first base. A breaking ball in for a strike. 1 strike to Cecil. He's batted in 108.
Cecil moving up, getting close to the home run leader, McGuire, who's on a disabled list. But look at Gonzalez, 36 home runs for a young man at Texas.
2nd year in the league. Hit another one last night, and he looks like he's for real. This one's fouled away. He got it, a little kid. He caught it with his glove, and a good one-handed catch by that youngster in the first row. There he is.
All right, got the old Detroit hat on, road hat.
Boy, he reached right over and made a one-handed stab. This one is outside. One ball, 2 strikes. Runner at first is Fryman. And the pitch from Kevin Appier. There goes the runner, and he's going to make it without a throw.
Well, Fryman doesn't run very much, but Appier was not paying any attention to him at all. Throw down in the dirt. Stolen base number 6 for Travis Fryman.
You want to know how big those mitts are? Maine was looking for the ball everywhere, and he had it in the mitt. He didn't have any idea where the ball might have been. Ground ball to third, and he's going to bobble it.
Ball hit sharply, but certainly a ball that should have been caught. Just Cecil Fielder on first base with an error to the third base. Mickey Tettles had a chance to drive a run in. That's error number 19 on Jeffries this year.
This one is outside to Mickey Tettleton. Well, Jeffries made an outstanding play on the ball hit by Fryman. Backhand play near the line. This one right at him, and he bobbled it. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Ball 2. Ball 2, no strikes. He's got to gear himself for something here. Wind blowing hard to right field. Count in his favor. See what Eppier elects to throw right here. Throw him a breaking ball. Ball 2 and strike 1. Mickey Tettleton could put the Tigers in front here in the first inning. Ball 3. Ball 3, strike 1 to the Tigers' designated hitter today. As Eppier gets ready. Strike 2.
Came back with the breaking ball again.
Full count to Tettleton, which means Cecil will be running. Here's the payoff pitch. He struck him out. Right back with another breaking ball, and Tettleton strikes out. We've played 1, and it's 0-0. Well, the Tigers threaten, fail to score. Kansas City in the second inning will send up Wally Joyner, Juan Samuel, and Brent Maine. Wally Joyner came over from the California Ball Club, signed a 1-year contract, and just recently a long-term deal. Here's a grounder to first. So 1 pitch and 1 out in the second inning as Wally Joyner banged it down to Cecil. It'll bring up Juan Samuel, who started the season with the Dodgers, got his outright release, and signed with Kansas City. He was playing second base when he first came over here, and they said when Miller came back, they'd move him to the outfield.
And the way I hear it, he almost became a Detroit Tigers a couple years ago. He made an offer, and at the same time, they made an offer to Rob Deere, and Rob Deere was the first one to accept. This fellow's a free swinger, and he has a quick bat, and he's got a little power. Again, he's one of those players who always has been a pretty good offensive player, but they find a hard place for him to play. He's second baseman, but makes a lot of errors.
1 ball, 1 strike. We'll make it ball 2. 2-0 Toronto in front of Milwaukee. It's not the score we had a moment ago. We had a 5-1 from the ticker, I think. Better check it out. Ball 3. It's the first time King has been behind a batter. Ball 3, strike 1. Eric King getting ready for the 3-1 pitch. And he hits it high in the air to left field. Tony Phillips and Pettis are both there, and Tony Phillips will handle it.
Well, that wind is carrying the ball towards center field. Tony, of course, wants to catch everything, but It might have been an easier play for Pettis. And the wind really whipping up, blowing towards the right field foul line. Flag you were looking at is center field.
This is Brent Maine. He's the catcher. You remember he was playing third base when we were in Kansas City while Jeffries was hurt. He fouls it down the line and left. Maine, another one of the good-looking young ball players on this club. They've got some good-looking kids. The one-strike pitch. It's the changeup, very high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Eric King trying to get him out 1, 2, 3 as he did in the first inning. And he's going to do that. Whitaker flips it on to first. We go to the bottom of the second. Still 0-0. We're going to take a look now at the American League East standings, brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Michigan. This is the way play started today. Baltimore only a game and a half behind, and Milwaukee 3.5 behind. Tigers 10 games out. Yankees 12, Cleveland 13.5, and the Red Sox 13.5 games behind.
So it's still a tight race in the American League East. 3 teams with great chances.
Yeah, Milwaukee had lost 5 in a row on the road before winning on Friday night, or otherwise they'd have been there. Here's Rob Deere. Rob Deere will lead it off. Scott Livingstone and Chad Kruder will be the batters. And a base hit into left. Rob Deere hit it hard into left field.
Wasting no time, going after the first pitch by Appier. Fastball, middle, outer part of the plate. Boy, he hits it hard.
That'll bring up Scott Livingstone. Scott Livingstone, the batter, with a runner at first. There goes the runner, and a bouncer foul. Ooh, that would have been something.
Well, if you can get any runners on base, you can get a good jump off of Appier. He has that big, long delivery towards home plate. Fortunate, but you have to get some men on base to do it. Rob, not a fast runner, gets a pretty good jump, hit and run, shortstop covering, trying to hit the ball in the hole at shortstop.
So it's 1 strike to Livingstone. He's going to take a shot at him. I haven't seen David Cone that much, but I know this: Milwaukee was running. Everybody who got to the plate was running. Got to first base. Which tells you he doesn't hold runners on very well.
He's always had a history of not holding runners on, but you know, he was leading the National League in strikeouts. Good earned run average. Not too many people were getting on base against him.
No. 14 wins on the year.
And not too many teams run like the Milwaukee Brewers.
Ball is speared by the shortstop. Wilkerson spears the line drive off the bat of Livingstone. That's the first out of the inning. And the batter will be Chad Kruder. Chad Critter, he's the catcher today. Mickey Tettleton, the designated hitter. Kevin Appier gets ready. He'll go to first base. He throws about as hard to first as he does to the plate.
Frank Tanana would like to have that fastball going to first base.
Yeah. And a lot of people.
Yeah. And here's the real score we were discussing. Toronto 5-1 over Milwaukee.
There's a strike to Critter. One strike to Critter. Runner at first, one out. That'll make it 1-1.
Sparky Anderson trying to get as many left-handed hitters as he can against this guy. He's tough. He doesn't usually give up very many runs with an earned run average of under 3.
The 1-1 pitch. This one's fouled into the upper deck. Well, the national anthem today was sung by Sandor Slamovitz from Ann Arbor. He's been here before. He and his twin brother last sang it here in June. One ball, 2 strikes. Rob Deere opened this inning with a single. Livingstone lined out to the shortstop. Now it's 1-2 to Critter. That'll make it 2-2.
What makes Appier so effective, he has the good fastball, but he also has the breaking ball and straight changeup. Keeps the hitters off balance, and then he can bust the fastball by you.
And he doesn't walk many. He did walk Whitaker in the first inning. Missed on the outside. 3-2. Ball 3, strike 2 to Chad Critter.
Hal McRae, the manager, a great player for the Royals, also played for Sparky Anderson in Cincinnati.
Rob Deere was going to run, and he almost ran before Appier delivered to the plate. Appier went to first base with it. You're not trying to steal in this spot. You're just waiting till he delivers, and then you go. Foul back.
And when you're running, you take a couple strides, and then you try to pick the ball up. Well, for several reasons. First of all, you don't want to get hit by a line drive, and then naturally you don't want to get doubled up on a fly ball. So you take a couple of strides, and then you look back to the catcher to see where the ball is going to go. Don't run with your head down.
Ball 3, strike 2. Chad Critter is batting at .245. 2 home runs this year. And he strikes out. Deere moves on down to second base on the strikeout. Chad Critter swung at a bad pitch, and he's out on strikes. And it'll leave it up to Gary Pettis.
It looked like he takes something off this ball. Chad doesn't have a good swing, so it looked like he's completely fooled. Yeah, he threw a changeup out of the strike zone. Chad figuring with 3-2, he's going to hum back and throw the fastball. No, he throws the changeup.
Gary Pettis had a home run yesterday. His first home run of the year. And a strike on the outside corner. The switch-hitting Tiger center fielder trying to put the Tigers on the board. Outside 1-1. Minnesota will be in town tomorrow night, Monday night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday in the afternoon. Here's the 1-1 pitch. A long fly that's going to be foul and caught down the right field line. Samuel lost it. He lost it completely. He got over there, and then all of a sudden he covered his face as if
the ball was in the sun, George. Right now, getting late in the year, the sun is really bad in right field. The first of the year and the last of the year, the sun is extremely difficult to see on a fly ball. You see, it was a routine play, but he was looking up. Even with the sunglasses, if that ball gets in the sun, you can't find it.
So that'll give Gary Pettis another chance. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That'll make it 2-2. Kevin Appier thought he had a strike, and Chuck Merriweather says no. Ball 2, strike 2. And a bouncer. That is great play. Joyner just robbed Pettis of an extra base hit and a run batted in with an outstanding play. We played 2 innings and there is no score. How well do you know your Tigers? Well, here's a chance now to test your Tiger IQ, and it's brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Here's a picture of a former Tiger, and we've covered up part of his face so it wouldn't be too easy, and we want to see if you can name him. The clue is he batted over 300 7 times while playing shortstop and later playing the outfield for the Tigers during the 1950s. We'll show you more of the picture a little bit later.
I know this one.
Oh, yeah. Got to know that one.
Yep. Another good crowd on hand, George.
Yeah.
Looks a little bit like the first night here, maybe 24.
24, 25, you're guessing?
Mm-hmm.
Can I guess a few more?
Okay.
29.
29?
Yeah, I think so. Right close to 30. I'm guessing now.
Hey, I like your tie, by the way.
I was going to show it to you on television. Doggone it. Everybody's bragging on my tie, and I must apologize to Al Kaline. He gave me this tie for my birthday, which was last Sunday, a week ago today. And I'm wearing it for the first time today. And a base hit up the middle. Look out. He hit a shot back at Eric King. And it is a beautiful tie. And I appreciate it. And I think Miss Louise, she must have picked it out.
Oh, here's the...
You can't win.
No, I'm not going to win either way, so I'm not even going to get into that. But Eric King says, hey, this is not my birthday. Leave me alone. That ball almost got him. Kozlowski hit the first pitch.
Where are you? Where's... Okay, here's...
Well, it's just a baseball tie with baseball figures on it. I'm trying to get you in the 20th century to get rid of those old ties of yours.
Beautiful. I love it. I really do. Here's a bunt, and it's foul.
It's the same tie that I was wearing, only a different color.
Different color.
Different color. There you go. So that makes it okay.
You should have seen what Chuck Wosley gave me for my birthday.
Oh, I don't even want to see that.
Oh, he hasn't given me anything yet. He will, though. He will. I mean, it's in the mail. The check is in the mail. This is Gary Thurman. Tried to bunt, popped it up, and Eric King is ready. This is fouled away.
I was just going to say, I think I would shade this guy a little bit towards right field off of Eric King. It's going to get a little tough to see out there in a couple innings. The shadows of the light tower just about ready to get on the pitcher's mound, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult for the hitters to see. You can see the shadow creeping up to the pitcher's mound right now, and that will eventually get right over the pitcher's mound and make it a little bit more difficult for the hitters to see.
He got him. He got him on the inside corner, and Gary Thurman is out on strike. First strikeout for Eric King.
If you can throw hard, fairly hard like Eric can, 2 strikes on you, you can throw a fastball by most hitters inside. They may foul it back, but usually most of them will not do a lot of damage to you with 2 strikes because you're trying to protect the plate and you're leaning over trying to protect the outside part of the plate.
It'll bring up Curtis Wilkerson, the little shortstop. Pitch is low.
And a surprise, Kozlowski is not running because he was. We were told when we were in Kansas City he was the fastest guy in the Kansas City organization right now.
We'll keep an eye on him. He opened this inning with a solid base hit. He's at first base with 1 out. And he's on his way. Throw to second is into center field. He doesn't know where the ball is. He could have walked to third base. He didn't see it. Whitaker didn't even juke him either. He could have put the tag on him as if he had the ball.
Well, it's just a terrible throw. Look how he throws 3/4, sidearm. Now, catchers are taught to throw the ball more overhand, off the shoulder, next to the ear. Look how he drops down and throws it out from the side. Now, that ball more than likely will always tail in towards the base runner.
So a stolen base for Kozlowski. And it's a ball and a strike to Curtis Wilkerson. We're in the 3rd inning at Tiger Stadium. There is no score. If you just joined us and wonder why we're in the 3rd inning, we had the Upper Deck Heroes game here, the old timers, before this game that started at 1:30, and this game started at 3:05. Runner at second with 1 out. And this one gets away, and he'll go to third base. Well, the Tigers are just about to give up a cheap run here. Single, stolen base, wild pitch.
Well, curveball. This is one of the troubles Eric has. He has a good curveball, but he very seldom ever gets it over the plate. This ball takes a short hop, caroms off the catcher. Now the infield will play in. Wilkerson, not noted for his hitting, doesn't hit the ball too hard that many times. They're going to try to cut the run down at home if they can.
So ball 2 and a strike 1 count to Wilkerson. It'll make it 2-2. He'd love to strike him out. That's the pattern of Eric King right now. Curtis Wilkerson, he's been around a long time, both leagues, a lot of ball clubs. Waiting on the 2-2 pitch. And he struck him out. Big strikeout for King.
Pretty good off-speed pitch here. Take a look at it and see the location. Curveball out of the strike zone. Good motion with that pitch from Eric King. Puts a lot into it, takes a lot off of it.
And he's got to get Jeffries. Greg Jeffries, who started this ball game with a fly ball to left field. This fellow's a good hitter. Good, pure hitter. Boston, excuse me.
I was going to say switch hitter and can hit equally well from both sides.
One ball, no strikes.
This guy was under a lot of pressure in New York. They came up with great credentials. They thought he was going to be really something special over there, but never could handle the media. And I guess, and as I was going to say, and some of his own teammates are very jealous of the fact that he was getting a lot of good press up there.
Yeah, they've got some people on that Mets ball club who resented this kid from the day he got there. Here's a strike.
They tried playing him every place. He's been third base. He's been second base. They even tried him in the outfield, but nothing has worked defensively for this young man. Boy, if he could ever field the ball, he'd be an outstanding player. He's a good hitter already.
Here's the 2-1 pitch. That'll make it 2-2. Good breaking ball from Eric King.
Jeffrey's not too happy about the pitch. You be the umpire here. Jeffrey thinks the ball inside. What do you think?
A ball 2 and a strike 2 count. Boy, that one was close.
I thought that one was better than the pitch before.
Yeah, Eric King had started to the dugout.
Well, maybe the little complaining by Jeffries got him another pitch. A little intimidation.
Ball 3, strike 2. He's out. No swing, no swing. They get it from third base. Chuck Merriweather signaled to third base, and Tim Toshida says no swing, so a walk to Jeffries.
Very seldom a hitter will hold up, but that time he looked like he did from that angle. Usually from the side angle. Here we get a better shot here. Does he go across home plate? Oh, he could have called it either way. Did a good job of jerking the bat backwards. Going to go out and have a little conference with Eric King. Billy Muffett very pleased with the performances of his young pitching staff so far. He's excited about spring training, and if he knows, he feels if he can just teach Knutson and Daugherty a breaking ball, they're going to be really good major league pitchers.
I would imagine that Billy Muffett told Eric King, you struck him out. You just didn't call him out, and don't let that bother you too much right now.
This guy's going to jump on the first pitch. He's a fastball, first ball, fastball hitter. That might have been something he was talking with Eric about.
Keith Miller hit the first pitch to third base his first time up, and he hits it to center field. Gary Pettis is there. We go to the bottom of the third. It's still 0-0. Here's our TV schedule. This coming Friday night, September the 4th, we'll be right here at Tiger Stadium at 7:30. Then on Sunday, 1 week from today, September the 6th at 1:30 against Milwaukee. Then it's on to Chicago Tuesday night, September the 8th at 8 o'clock, and Thursday night, September the 10th at 8 o'clock.
And some of the new excitement here at Tiger Stadium, a little music in the stands going around and keeping all the fans happy.
Tony Phillips will be the leadoff man. Tony bounced out his first time, and he hits it high in the air to center field. Boy, the wind is really playing tricks with it, but Thurman stays with it and puts it away. No, that's Kozlowski in center field.
Ball carried further than I thought it would in center field. Thought the wind would knock it down. The wind blowing towards right field. Tony hits the ball hard, but it's straight up in the air. And you see Kozlowski fighting the sun and also the wind. You see the ball carrying towards right field.
And the batter is Lou Whitaker. Lou walked his first time up. One ball, no strikes.
Lou hit a grand slam yesterday. That was his second career grand slam.
Pitches outside. Ball 2, no strikes. He knows Lou is one of the few left-handed batters the Tigers have that can pull the ball and hit it that far, and with the wind blowing that way, he's trying to keep it away from him.
I think it's one of the needs of the Tigers over the winter months is another left-handed hitter.
Barry Bonds, maybe?
Oh, yeah. But they need another left-handed hitter against certain right-handers, particularly here at Tiger Stadium where you have a short fence. The Tigers overloaded with right-handers.
Ball 2 and strike 2. And he struck him out. Lou Whitaker strikes out. 3 strikeouts today for Kevin Appier.
Now Lou gets a little anxious here. The ball out of the strike zone. Little change up that was up. A really good pitch to hit, but Lou was underneath of it.
They'll bring up Travis Fryman. Travis is 0 for 1. Blew the fastball by him. 1 strike.
Travis has gotten in the habit of swinging the first pitch a lot. He's not as selective as he was earlier in the year.
And the Philadelphia Ball Club jumping all over the league leading Atlanta Braves 7-2 in the bottom of the 6th inning. Outside with a fastball. Minnesota 3 and the Yankees nothing. They're in the bottom of the 5th inning. It's Tapani pitching for Minnesota. Inside to Fryman. Mark Davis is now pitching for the Atlanta club. A ball 2 and a strike 2 count. And a base hit into left. Travis Fryman stings it into left field.
One of those how do you do, fooled on the pitch but still able to keep his hands back long enough and hits it with one arm. Watch his hand come off and he's able to hit the ball pretty sharply to left field.
We'll bring up Cecil, who was safe on an error his first time up. Tigers put 2 runners aboard in the 1st inning. They had them at 1st and 3rd when Tettleton struck out. They got a leadoff single from Rob Deere in the 2nd inning. He was stranded at first base.
Cecil leading the league in RBI with 108.
Cecil was geared for a fastball down the middle, and it didn't happen. One strike to fielder. Appier gets ready, and the pitch. Inside, makes it 1-1. Got a very large and enthusiastic crowd here on this Sunday afternoon in Detroit. Just a delightful Sunday afternoon, other than a strong breeze blowing. I believe it's picking up too. The 1-1 pitch to Cecil makes it 1-2.
Appier with a lot of motion. He gives you that big leg kick, and he rocks back, and sometimes he doesn't throw the ball quite as hard as you anticipate.
Cecil waiting on the 1-2 pitch. There goes the runner, and he's going to be out. Travis Fryman is out attempting to steal second base. We've played 3 and it's still 0-0. We're going to pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Detroit Tiger Baseball Network.
Tonight on News 3, an update on teacher negotiations as students are trying to find out, will there be school this week? Details on this and more tonight on News 3.
George Brett will lead it off in the 4th inning. Brett, Joyner, and Samuel. Eric King has allowed but 1 hit. And a bouncer to shortstop. Fryman. He's not going to throw him out by much, is he? Just give him a chance.
He takes that little, pats the ball in his glove and takes his time.
Yeah, if it's a slow runner, he takes it a couple of times. There it is.
He's almost daring him to outrun it.
Yeah.
You can't outrun that baseball. That's what Casey Stengel used to say. Young man, you can't outrun the baseball.
Here's Wally Joyner. Bounce to Cecil in the 2nd inning. And a strike makes it 1-1. The Bedell family from Horton, Michigan are here today. Want to say hello to Doogie Ladowski of Horton. This is foul.
Just got a note here that from Rick Riz passed it along to us. Chicago's Jim Bollinger has not allowed a hit through 6 innings.
Outside to Joyner. And the pitch. It's low. Well, we said we were talking about shortstops who had not batted in 100 runs, and what's the man's name here?
We were talking about shortstops who did bat in.
Yeah, did bat in 100 runs, and we said there were not very many. Well, Mr. Robert Fitzgerald just went to a lot of effort to send this to us, and it's very comprehensive and very good. Mr. Robert Fitzgerald, and there's 22 shortstops in the history of the game that's batted in 100 runs or more. Some of them many times. Ernie Banks 4 times. Joe Cronin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, 6, 7, 8 times. Joe Cronin. Huey Jennings 3 times back in the 1890s. Ripken 3 times. Glenn Wright with Pittsburgh.
Is Petrocelli driving the most by a shortstop? Did he drive in 140 runs once?
Petrocelli hit 40 home runs and barely batted in 100 runs. 103.
Oh.
Hey, when you hit 40 home runs, you ought to bat in 140 runs.
You ought to drive in 120 anyhow.
Yeah. But he only batted in 103 with the 40 home runs. 23 shortstops have batted in over 100 runs at least once in their career. And Archie Vaughn with Pittsburgh 3 times. 97, 94, and 99. Juan Samuel Waiting on the 1-ball pitch. That'll make it ball 2. George Brett opened this inning with a bouncer to shortstop. Wally Joyner walked. Now it's 2-0 to Samuel. Ball 3. He's hard to walk.
Doesn't walk too much.
Ball 3, no strikes. He's swinging 3-0. A ball 3 and a strike 1 count. Juan Samuel batting with a runner at first base and 1 out. Eric King gets ready. And another foul ball. We'll see if Joyner's running on the 3-2 pitch. More than likely he will be.
Samuel strikes out a lot. Joyner doesn't run that well, so if they can strike him out, it could be a double play.
He's running. And a foul ball.
Say this foul ball right here, even though they're wearing a face mask, it does do some damage and does hurt. Looked like it hit Kruder and then off the mask of the umpire. Hey, Tom Selleck's just in the booth with us, joined us.
There he goes again, and another foul ball.
Tom, you played a great game today, my man, at first base. You got a base hit. You well, we appreciate the fact that you were able to come here at Tiger Stadium. Of course, you say you've been a Tiger fan for a long time.
Forever, I think, Al.
Yeah. And you have a new movie coming out.
I do. October 2nd, Mr. Baseball.
Mr. Baseball.
He walked him.
Which is, I hope, real funny, because I sure enjoy it. It's about an American player going to Japan, and
you filmed it right over in Japan, didn't you?
Oh, I did. It gets a little lonely. It's a hard thing for American ball players.
Take a look at your swing here. Now, you think we might need you? You think you can suit up for a while with us?
Well, let's see. I think that I dipped my back shoulder a little bit on that ball, but I had to stay with it.
Yeah, you stayed back a little bit too long on that one. Got it on the handle a little bit.
Yeah.
But good swing.
I had 2 strikes, though. I was
protecting the plate.
Very concerned about striking out, Al.
You be careful up here now. The ball comes back here in a hurry. We want you to protect us. You had,
with my quick hands?
You had the quick hands, yeah.
This is Brent Main, the catcher, batting with 2 on and 1 out. A couple of walks in the inning. They're running and a swing and a miss, and nobody's covering second. Kruder was going to throw to second, and nobody was there. So it works.
I think it surprised everybody that you had Joyner, who does not run well. You can see there, nobody's holding Joyner on at second base. And he just walks over there. Nobody held him back at all.
You'll score that a double steal. Joyner and Samuel. And 1 strike to Brent Main. Eric King gets ready. And a drive foul down the right field line. You know, Tom, I was telling Al Kaline, I read Warren Cromartie's book, and I was very interested in how the Americans react over there, and I want to see the movie, and I'm interested in finding out how they react.
Well, you know, American players go over there, it gets a little rough on them. It's a real lonesome job. Nobody speaks English, and they got an interpreter on the bench, and they get discriminated against a little bit, and that's kind of what the movie's about, although we tell it in a funny way.
That's what he said in his book. Very good.
You bet. It's a good book.
Did you have any other American players in your movie with you?
Frank Thomas plays my nightmare. I start the movie as a New York Yankee, kind of an aging first baseman, and the rookie who comes up and threatens my job is Frank Thomas. I cast that part. I said he's younger, he's better looking, he's bigger and stronger. He'd be my nightmare.
It's 1-2 to Brent Maine. And another foul.
You've been a busy man. You've had, what, 3 pictures in a row? You enjoying your time off?
Well, I did. Al, I took the summer off because I did 3 pictures back-to-back. I was in Chicago and Fort Lauderdale on one of them. Then I went to Japan for over 3 months and went to Spain to do a movie that's out now called Christopher Columbus, although it was a small part. And I was ready to see my kids and my wife and spend some time at home, so I was a little burned out.
We're talking to Tom Selleck. He's telling us about his movie made in Japan. This one is low. Tom played in the Upper Deck Heroes game and had a base hit and made a couple of outstanding plays.
That's not a bad title, you know, Made in Japan. Yeah. Mr. Baseball is not my favorite title, although it makes sense when you see the movie because that's what the Japanese press starts calling him.
The 2-2 pitch. Whoa, it was close. That pitch is ruled high, but we'll take a look at that. At one time, this was a perfect strike.
Yeah, the strike zone has gotten down below the waist. Now, this is a pitch right, still waist high.
Oh,
where is it?
Can you believe how small the strike zone has gotten?
It is below the waist now.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
And a base hit into right.
Oh,
that'll get a couple of runs in.
Yep. Cost him a base hit and 2 runs.
Well, he loses the call from the umpire, and then a base hit, and 2-0 Kansas City.
That's a tall ump.
Well, it goes on all over the league. That's the strike zone today.
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
Really unfair to the pitchers. You have to be an outstanding
Bet you guys
pitcher.
wish you were still hitting.
Well, you know, that strike above the waist with 2 strikes, awful tough pitch to hit, and now the hitters don't have to worry about that pitch. And it costs Eric King right here. It looked like a 3rd strike, and it wasn't called.
Well, a couple of walks got him in trouble, as usually happens. 2 walks, a double steal, then a base hit by Maine, and the batter is Kozlowski.
Tom, where are you off to now? You going back home?
I'm going to Chicago, Al, and then to do some publicity and maybe even work out with the Cubs.
There goes the runner, and a foul.
There you go. That's always great to go to Wrigley Field.
Yeah.
It's just like Tiger Stadium. It's you don't find these great old ballparks anymore.
You bet. The Kansas City 3rd base coach told me a story about his experience in Japan. He was telling me that he played over there and they found out he caught, and normally they don't allow Americans to catch, but their Japanese were hurt. So he had 3 great games at catcher because he'd caught in the minor leagues, and he hit the ball and he was throwing runners out, and the Japanese manager came in and said, you're making my players look too bad. Play worse. This is his own manager.
Oh my goodness.
So the next game, his own pitcher crossed him up 4 times.
This is discrimination.
You bet.
Supposed to try to win. It's the name of the game.
Kevin Kozlowski had a base hit his first time up. It's been a tough inning for Eric King. When you walk a couple of batters, you're going to do that. He got the first batter, Brett, with ease and walked the next 2, then a double steal, a base hit, and it's 2-0 Kansas City. And another base hit. Maine stops at second. So Kozlowski gets his second hit.
Well, Eric, who has pitched so well in his first 2 outings since coming off the disabled list, struggling here in the 4th inning, and The base on balls has really hurt him. In his first 2 outings, he's only walked 1 batter. Here in this game, he's walked 3. He's thrown a lot of pitches this inning.
We're going to get action in the Tiger bullpen, stirring out there. Sparky doesn't want this game to get out of hand. Here's Gary Thurman. Gary Thurman struck out in the 3rd inning. And a strike.
Well, it won't be Mike Henneman warming up in the bullpen because he was in the locker room putting skin lube in my socks.
Yeah, he was the one that went in spring training, as you well. There's Kurt Knudsen throwing. He was the one in spring training that was treating you like a rookie, wasn't he?
You bet.
He was.
You know, it was Dan Petrie at the time.
Off the glove of King, and a quick throw. Nope, he didn't get anybody. He just held on to it.
You know, I'm older than Dan Petrie, but for 2 weeks there, he never called me anything but kid.
Well, everybody appreciated the fact we take a look at this last ball. Hit hard. Eric able to put a glove on it. In fact, it would have been an easy out had he let the ball go by, but he deflected it enough where Travis could not make the play. Yeah, they treat everybody who comes to spring training for the first year like a rookie, and you had to do everything the other players did, and you did.
Well, I didn't. Actually, that made me feel at home because I know ball players, and if they won't kid you, they really don't like you. So when they started putting heat rug in my jock strap, I felt better.
Yeah.
In a weird sort of way, Al.
Yeah. It all happened to me, too, when I was a kid.
Here's a base hit. That'll get 2 more in. Pettis' throw to the plate, and he's out.
Blocked the plate.
He never did get to the bag.
Al McRae arguing with the plate umpire. It looked like from our vantage point, of course, we'll get a better chance when we see the replay. It looked like the plate was blocked. He never did get a hand on the plate, but we'll get a chance to look at it right now. A perfect throw. Oh, yeah, I think we got it. I think he was safe.
Yeah,
I think we got a break.
He caught it with his hand.
Tigers caught a break. He probably figured he owed Eric King one after missing that 3rd strike, was all this happened.
We're going to take another look at it, but you can see that he hooks his arm in, and he gets
right between the legs. He blocks the plate. He puts his arm in between and right there. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a good way to break an arm or dislocate a shoulder.
Well, a base hit, a run batted in, 3-0 Kansas City leads it. That's the 2nd out of the inning. And it'll bring up Jeffries.
Seems like all the air is going right out of Eric after the couple of base on balls and the base hit by Brent Main. He looked like he's not throwing the same as he was earlier.
To give Gary Pettis credit, he made a great throw to the plate.
As an outfielder, that's what you have to do. You throw the ball, even if you don't get the runner at home plate, you might get a player advancing, so you get yourself out of an inning. But you have to throw it to the cutoff man. That's what the outfielder has to do.
Greg Jeffries walked his last time up. Takes a pitch outside, ball 2. We're in the 4th inning at Tiger Stadium. Kansas City 3 and the Tigers nothing. Eric King gets ready, and the 2-0 pitch. It's a strike.
You can see Eric's not bouncing around the mound like he was earlier. He looks like he's got his head down a little now. Tigers still in this ball game. Hey, they can bust out and score 3 or 4 runs with one swing of the bat. This team can come back. You got to hold the team in.
Ground ball to 3rd. Livingstone picks it off, and the inning is over. They get 3. We go to the bottom of the 4th. It's Kansas City 3 and the Tigers nothing. There's our mystery Tiger again, and just one more clue. As a manager, he took the Milwaukee Brewers to the World Series in 1982. And if you haven't guessed yet who our mystery tiger is, we're going to have the answer for you a little bit later.
Tom, you might have been around when this our mystery guest was playing. It was a shortstop right before I got here, and it was a 300 hitter. We don't want you to give his name away because we have people.
I know
guessing.
who he is.
All right, because I knew.
I think I met him when I met you, Al.
That's right. I figured that's what's
in the 50s.
Right.
Yeah. 7 times he batted 300. Wound up playing center field in California, I think, for the Giants. Cecil Fielder will lead it off, and the pitch is inside. Cecil was batting when Fryman was thrown out attempting to steal. 29 home runs, 108 runs batted in. A big swing and a miss.
Right now it's getting a little difficult to see at home plate. The ball coming out of the sun into the shade. You don't see the spin on the ball. You see the fastball okay, but the breaking ball will give you a lot of trouble.
Strike 2 to Cecil. Appier has a very deceptive motion, and you lose the fastball or the curve.
He gives you all arms and legs and elbows and everything, and the ball doesn't get up there quite as fast as you think. But
there's a base hit to right. Cecil Fielder drops it into right field.
You really have to wait on the ball, pick the ball up, and don't worry about his motion. A lot of hitters will, once the pitcher starts his motion and he starts his swing, and you really can't do it off of a pitcher like Appier. You can see there, Cecil Fielder hit flat foot. He didn't even take a stride.
So a runner at first with nobody out. The batter will be Mickey Tettleton. Mickey struck out in the first inning. The wind is blowing hard to right field. I don't think we've had a fly ball to right yet.
We had more of the heroes hitting fly balls than the players today. Oh,
Tettleton fouls it away. Cardinals have a 2-0 lead over the Dodgers there in the 8th inning in St. Louis. Minnesota leading the Yankees 5-1 at the end of 6. This one outside.
Tom, did you get a chance to go out and see any of the Dodgers games? They're really struggling with that ball club. Tom Lasorda has to be dying.
Well, I knew they were going to have some real defensive problems this year, and I think it really showed. You can't do it with mirrors, and that isn't Tommy's fault. But they're struggling. I got season tickets to the Dodger games, but see, my brother's an ex-Dodger player, so he hogs the tickets all the time.
Yeah, they've also had a lot of injuries.
You bet.
Strawberry not being able to play very well this year.
Eric Davis.
Eric Davis. A lot of problems.
Tom Candiotti was out for a while. They had an interesting game the other night. Knuckleballer against knuckleballer. The Pittsburgh pitcher.
Yeah, Wakefield.
Yeah.
He's been outstanding, young fella. This ball might be some trouble down the line, and it is fair ball. A fair ball, and Cecil holds at second base.
Yeah, you can see the ball going up. The wind eventually was going to grab a hold of it and push it towards the playing field. It was foul all the way, but as the ball got up over the stands, it really straightened it out and pushed it fair. I believe it hit right on the line.
Nice 9-iron.
Yeah,
yeah,
really was. Cecil wasn't sure whether or not it was going to be caught, so he's just on second base.
So the Tigers have him at first and second with nobody out for Rob Deere, who had a base hit his first time up. Kevin Appier delivers high to Rob Deere. Cecil Fielder is the runner at second. Tettleton at first base with nobody out. Appier's walked only one batter. That was Whitaker in the first inning. He's allowed 4 hits. The last 3 batters have singled. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Makes it 1-1 to Deere.
Rob Deere probably having his best career ever in the major leagues. He's had 2 stints on the disabled list, but still has 26 home runs.
Well, he got number 26 here yesterday. Ooh, good breaking ball. Makes it 1-2 to Deere.
Looks like Appier, when he gets in trouble and men on base, he goes to his breaking ball more than his fastball. Rob Deere had a base hit his first time up on a fastball, and he's been throwing him nothing but breaking ball since.
1 ball, 2 strikes. The pitch from Appier. He struck him out. Rob Deere swings at a bad breaking ball, and he's out on strikes. 4 strikeouts.
A lot of motion, but the ball never gets there. Look at the motion. Takes a lot off the change-up, out of the strike zone.
And the batter is Livingstone. Scott Livingstone lined to the shortstop his first time.
Scott's looking for his first home run of the year.
Jim Bullinger of the Cubs has a no-hitter through 7 innings against the Giants at Wrigley Field. Jim Bullinger. One ball, no strikes. No strike.
Scott used to help me out in the batting cages at spring training.
He had a lot of help down there.
You bet.
Bergman,
Dave Bergman helped me a lot,
especially at first base.
This kid's going to be a good ball player, Tom.
Yes.
Got a lot of desire, puts the ball in play.
I'd like to see him with a little bit more power playing third base, but that's something you can't teach anybody. It's something that has to happen naturally. But he has a good stroke. He should never go into a slump because he hits the ball to all fields.
It's ball 2 and strike 1 to the Tiger third baseman. Kevin Appier ready. And a strike. Makes it 2-2. He's keeping the ball on the outside part of the plate to Livingstone. Two on, 1 out. The Tigers trail by 3 in the 4th inning. Ball 3. Ball 3, strike 2. See what Sparky elects to do. Sometimes he runs them in a spot like this.
Well, Scott doesn't strike out much, and he might say, hey, let's try to stay out of the double play. It will take Cecil running to score on a base hit.
And he bounces it to first base. They go to second for 1. The relay to first. Safe. Appier did a good job holding on to the ball.
It's a hard way to turn a double play. First base throwing to second and the pitcher covering. You don't see it happen too often, but a good play by the pitcher to stop the ball from going into the dugout.
So the Tigers have him at first and third for Chad Kruder. Chad struck out his first time up.
Well, Tom Selleck, we want to wish you the very best on your new movie, Mr.
Thanks, Al.
Baseball. Comes out October the 2nd.
October 2nd.
All right, we're going to definitely get
we're
there
looking
and see
forward
it.
to that.
And we hope you get a chance to come back to spring training with the Tigers.
I would love that, Al.
Good luck to you.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Chad Kruder, he could tie it up with one swing of the bat. Philadelphia 10-2 over Atlanta in the 8th inning. I talked to John Schuerholz this week, Al, and I said, he's a little worried. I said, with that pitching you got, you have nothing to worry about. He says, they're not pitching right now. And that does worry you.
Now, when you have 3 starters like they have over there, although they're having some problems in the bullpen, you should not go into too many slumps.
1 ball, no strikes.
They are looking for a relief pitcher, I understand. Their bullpen.
Yeah, they lost
Pena.
Yeah.
And they just lost a left-hander yesterday to a sore arm. So they are desperate for someone in the bullpen.
Here's a strike, makes it 1-1. No. Good to see you, Tom. Take care. It's 1 ball, 1 strike to Chad Kreuter. Tom Selleck has been our guest. Here's a swing and a miss. Tom Selleck has a lifelong love affair with the Tigers from Detroit. Goes to spring training every once in a while, and every opportunity he gets, he comes back to Tiger Stadium. And he played here today in the Upper Deck Old Timers game. Here's the 1-2 pitch. That'll make it 2-2. Tigers threaten in the 4th. 2 runners aboard and 2 outs. The 2-2 pitch coming up to Chad Kreuter. That'll make it 3-2. We've got a large crowd on hand, a very enthusiastic crowd, and this young man could put him into orbit here with a long drive. We look at Hal McRae, the manager of the Kansas City club. Ball 3, strike 2. Livingstone will be running. And a base hit into left. A solid base hit by Kreuter.
Well, Chad doesn't get a chance to play very often, but he gets a big base hit this time. Hits the ball a little on the end of the bat. Another changeup. Appier really having excellent control, getting all of his pitches over the plate, but Chad gets a base hit to left field. Cecil Fielder scores. It's a 3-1 game now.
And the batter is Gary Pettis, who was robbed of a base hit his first time. And he fouls it away. The 3rd Tiger hit this inning. Cecil opened the inning with a single. Tettleton a pop fly single down the left field line. Rob Deere struck out. Scott Livingstone bounced into a force play, and then Kreuter singled to get the run in. And the pitch coming up to Pettis. Bouncer to first. Easy play for Wally Joyner. We've played 4. Kansas City 3 and the Tigers 1.
Strikes out in American baseball and winds up signing on to play for a team in Japan.
Well, he wants to know what was your main reason for coming to Japan?
Let's just say I had a yen to play here.
And while Selleck's carefree attitude may not fit into the strict regimen of the Japanese culture, his routine is a big hit with the players.
Right foot, in.
Right.
Shake it all about.
To the right.
Do the hokey pokey.
Turn yourself around.
That's what it's all about.
But Selleck's on-field antics put him in the doghouse with the coach.
Nice speech, Coach. Gave me goosebumps.
Mr. Baseball will be in theaters on Friday and also open.
Another guest up here. He may not be as famous to you all as Tom Selleck, but he's even more famous to me. This is my grandson, Colin. I have 4 grandkids, and Colin said, hey, all the excitement down here at Tiger Stadium, he says, I want to be a part of it. You want to wave to your mommy up here, Colin? Huh? You want to wave to your mommy? Huh? She's up there in the camera. You like baseball? You do. My son Michael came down to the game today along with my wife and wanted to get a chance to show you one of my pride and joys right here. Huh? You want to say?
My mom didn't want to come.
Yeah, Mommy wants you to wave to her.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we have a new pitcher. Kurt Knutson is on the mound for the Tigers. Kurt's one of the new additions that has done a great job for the Tigers since being called up from the Toledo Ball Club. 2-2 with a 3.72 earned run average. 5 saves. He had those saves when Mike Henneman was having some shoulder difficulties, and Knutson stepped in and did a real good job for him. Sparky Anderson feels that Knutson may not be able to go 2 days in a row, and there's some possibility, at least some rumors, that maybe in spring training they might try to make this guy a starter. And but he has a good arm, good fastball. He's been working on a split finger. He keeps the ball up in the strike zone, and that's not really good with the wind blowing out towards right field. He doesn't get too many ground balls, but he has a good arm, throws the ball hard.